So my Ghost V2 just arrived, and I've already started assembling it, but I wanted to talk about some of the improvements I really like over the Ghost V1, and just give an overview of why this is such an awesome looking frame. For all these improvements, the weight increase is pretty minimal. So the original Ghost was 55 grams, and this one is 65 grams, stated on their website. I haven't checked this new one yet. 10 grams, and what do you get for 10 grams? Well, 5mm thick arms, instead of 4mm on the old one. Slightly beefier in here and here, I think. It might be about the same. These connected boomerang style arms, which right here you've got more in here, more meat than the old one. You can see in the old one you've got this that's just open and the arms connect here and there's a gap there. So you get this connected as well, much thicker in here. You get press nuts here. This is a huge improvement. I think press nuts are one of the biggest improvements you get with this. So that allows you to firstly tighten these tighter, because on the old one you would have to be holding it from this side and tightening it. These you can just grab your driver and just tighten those right down, no issues. And if you're in the field and it comes loose for any reason, you don't have to worry about it, you just tighten that up. Whereas on the old one, if you wanted to tighten it up, you'd have to get out some pliers or something, grab the nut from one side, and it's just a pain. In fact, I bought these pliers specifically for using the nuts on my old Ghost. These flush press nuts also allow for another big improvement on this frame. See here how they stick up right here? That means that the camera, you can't go much lower on the top plate, or this camera, when you tilt it up, will start to stick out, right? So you get less camera protection. With this new design, you can have lower standoffs and a lower top plate overall, and still be able to fit your camera in without hitting anything. Here's the new standoff, and here's one of my old ones from my Ghost V1. You can see the new one's a lot shorter. Now with them both screwed on, that's what kind of a difference you're going to get on the top plate height. That's going to increase the strength even further, because there's less to actually bend. There's less leverage on the screws and the standoffs and the carbon and everything. So that's going to be better, especially for if you're running a GoPro or something heavy on the top. This is going to make a big difference. Also, generally having the frame lower just makes it more protected and less likely to hit a gate if you go under it really close. Stuff like that. Now here's some more on the strength of the frame. This is one of the old arms. It looks like a little stick in comparison to this thing. And now you can appreciate how much extra carbon is added in here. And also if you look at from the bottom here, you can see they're about the same in terms of width. You can't see this arm from under here. And also all the carbon on the new one is chamfered, as you can see, which looks really nice and should help it stay looking pretty. But if you have a look at the mounts for the motors, it's really hard to tell from this angle, but the new one is slightly wider in here, even though it's chamfered. So it's still wider out here. And there's a bit more, there's just a bit more in this area here than the old one. Overall, it's a slightly stronger motor mount, as well as, of course, being a thicker arm in general. And I've only broken one arm on the Ghost V1 in all my time flying it, and that was in this point here at the motor mount. It didn't totally snap, it started to break a bit. I kept racing it until eventually it was too floppy. So the Ghost V1's still very strong, so I imagine with these improvements, the V2 is going to be ridiculously strong for a 65 gram frame. I should mention I broke another arm on the Ghost just a couple of days ago that I forgot about. Broke just up there. It was also carrying a GoPro at the time, and that arm had been flexing a bit before, so it had weakened and finally broke. So I've broken two arms in a long time of flying it, and even with a GoPro on. But the biggest issue on this frame was the screws shearing for the standoffs, and this all bending, because the screws would bend. So if these screws are stronger and the standoffs are shorter, that's going to be a huge improvement and going to make this new frame a lot easier to use and a lot less annoying. Now, comparing the bottom plates, you can see they're about the same length. All the screw holes match up with the first one as well, so you can mix and match the arms between the Ghost 1 and 2, so you could swap your Ghost 1 to have Ghost 2 arms in it. In here, they've got, instead of having, it used to be just like these bits under there, now there's some holes in here, square holes. This nice chamfered edge is going to be good for your battery strap, less chance of ripping it on there. As you can see, that edge looks nicer than that one. And other than that, it's just generally improved strength on some of the points, but otherwise they're very similar. Now I've built it up, let's get the weight of this sexy beast right here. Does look great. It just looks a lot more polished than the original frame. It's like what the original frame was like a prototype for this, basically. So 66.2 grams, so there you can see it's about 10 grams heavier than the original. And now I'll add in the 3D prints for the camera mount and the video transmitter SMA antenna mount. Comes to exactly 68 grams. So 68 with everything you'll have here before building in your actual components. Now to sum up the improvements, we have 5mm thick arms, all chamfered carbon, press nuts, not only press nuts, but flush in the carbon press nuts, more material in here where the arms connect, connected arms, lower standoffs, and nothing in the way here to prevent your camera from tilting down. Therefore a lower profile of the whole frame. We've got stronger hardware using stainless steel screws instead of titanium. And overall it just looks so much more polished and beautiful. Of course the chamfered carbon does a lot for that, than the original Ghost, and how the arms connect here and just smoothly go around this turn here. It just looks great. It feels super solid. It just feels really, really nice. So I really look forward to putting this thing together. And you get all those improvements for just 10 grams. Is that 10 grams worth it? Absolutely. It should be a lot stronger. Everything here points to it being a lot stronger than the original. It looks a lot nicer. You've got a lower stack height. Everything about this frame is better than the original one. And what I love is that they kept the original simple Ghost look and made it all backwards compatible. So nothing about the frame really changed. It's the same old frame, just better. Ghost 2. I pre-ordered mine. I got it. I love it. So if you guys can get one in stock, I'd highly recommend it.